Welcome to a new episode of Parenting and You with me, Dr. Shefali. Is this episode going to resonate with so many of you? I just know it. If you were raised in your childhood to be the ultimate good boy or the good girl, then you are going to learn so much from these parents I'm going to talk to. I'm going to help you tame this inner voice that tells you that you need to be better, that you need to be good enough. And I'm going to show you how you can liberate yourself in the most powerful way. Coming up next, a mom who says she loses her cool in public when her 3-year-old daughter is out of control. Joining me now is Sarah, a mother of a 3-year-old daughter who she describes as a sensitive, wild child. Hi, Sarah. Tell me what's going on.
Hi. So, yes, I have a daughter. She's almost 4 years old. As you said, she's a sensitive, wild child. I also have a 14-month-old. I'd say at home, I feel safe. I feel like we are better. I work better with her. I can feel her emotions, in those really hard moments. And obviously, I'm not perfect even at home, but it's outside that I could feel the anxiety rising. I feel that everyone's watching me, everyone's judging, I'm never sure, am I even doing this parenting thing right? So when I'm out in public, it kind of heightens the worries. So when she starts acting up, if she has a big emotion, then I can feel myself tensing up and I know I'm going to let her feel these emotions. At the same time, I don't know how, I think I forget everything I know, right? And I worry too much. I let that perfectionist take over. And I just want her to stop, hold those feelings in. And then later I regret it.
I totally understand what you're saying. Oh my goodness. We so as parents fear the disapproval of everyone else, right? Like, what are they going to think of me? I'm such a bad parent. I can't even control this child. So let me take you to a different place. So where I want you to go is to your memories in your childhood when you lost it, when you were a mess, when you had big emotions. What kind of reaction do you remember your parents having? I see you're tearing up, so tell me what's coming up for you.
I think about this a lot. I couldn't have those big emotions. Sadness was maybe the only thing that was more approved of because then I was comforted. But aside from that, oftentimes it was, if the emotions were too big, too much to handle, it was just, I was told to stop. And then I often took those, I felt like the only safe place was to have those big emotions like anger were my siblings because they were, weaker than me. So we often, I would take out my anger on my little sister or and then obviously my parents, that was a no-go. I had to be the calm, good little girl, hold it in, suck it in, and, try not to cry or get into more trouble.
Let me stop you. Stay in your feelings because it's really hard to be in our feeling state because, as you said, as children, we were not allowed to be authentic. So just stay in those feelings of little Sarah when you realize that, hey, I'm not safe to feel my big volatile emotions around my parents. What did you feel when you were dismissed, when you were denied? If you could put some words to it, I know it's hard to remember, but what was the feeling that was left in you when you couldn't be yourself, right? So your parents are telling you, shh, stop it, Sarah, get over it, something like that. What were you feeling that you were?
I felt dejected, scared to go to really feel, scared to feel, scared to get in trouble. And then I felt misunderstood.
What you just said is the key. I think that so many children, I felt it, and this is what you just said: scared to feel, scared to get into trouble, scared to feel because we're scared to get into trouble. And what does trouble really mean? The judgment of others, the shame, the feeling that we're not good enough, that we should be better, right? So that feeling state is now stuck in you. So no wonder when you go outside and your child is not scared to feel, right? She's feeling them because you've really broken the pattern there. But inside Sarah, the little Sarah is still scared to feel. So the little Sarah is so scared that she's going to feel all these feelings because the real child outside is feeling these feelings, and you're remembering all the judgment. So it has nothing to do with the public places. It has nothing to do with the train or the park. It has to do with little Sarah still scared to feel because she's scared to get into trouble, you see?
Yeah, definitely.
So your child outside of you is showing you that that is still not healed inside you. Because every time she's feeling feelings outside in public, you're feeling feelings. And you want her to shut up and shut down because you were never allowed and you were shut up and shut down. So the judgment is inside you, right? It's still playing that tape. Now, let me ask you, Sarah, one more question. Do you feel that fear of disapproval in other areas of your life as well?
Everything, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And when I wake up, it's when I get ready, it's how to look to everyone else. And it's something I actively work on to try and recognize what is really what I want versus what I'm worried about what everyone else wants from me, so.
Right. But here's the thing. If you can begin, and this is something we all have to do, begin to realize that that critical inner voice is actually not Sarah, not the authentic you. If you had to give it a person, would it be your mom? Would it be your dad? Would it be culture? Whose voice would that be?
I would say everyone else. It's a group, just could be the whole world even.
Wow. Well, I just want to empathize how hard that must feel for you every morning to wake up and have a feeling that it's Sarah against everyone else, right? Because that's how it feels to you, that the world outside is so threatening. But if you can just break it down a little bit and realize that it's coming from actually wanting approval from your parents. So it's not everybody and it's not everything. It's you're afraid of disapproval, really from your parents, but now you've made it the whole world because it was not safe for you at home. So that voice is your inherited voice. So now what I'm going to ask you to do tomorrow when you wake up and the voice starts playing again, first step, recognize it's a voice. It's not you, it's a voice in you. It's just a part of you. Number two, it's not really Sarah. It's the voices she's inherited. So you can go, there's that voice I've inherited. Just that shift will allow you to observe it, watch it, and then talk back to it. And then one day you can say, hey, voice, everybody else's voice in me. Hey, you need to quieten down. I'm okay. My child is okay. But do you see how those voices interrupt you and distract you and scare you and overwhelm you?
It takes me away from the moment, the moment with my kids and my family.
It robs you of your present moment. And that's how our past voices that we've inherited take us away from the present moment. This happens to all of us. I mean, I'm saying this in every coaching session. The voices from our past rob us from the present, right? It happens to me and you. So you're not abnormal. But now you have to fight this conditioning. It's a conditioning. So to decondition yourself, every time this voice comes up, you have to recognize it as a voice and a voice from the past. And just this will make you then say, okay, I need to come back into the present. What does my child before me need? And how can I soothe my own inner child? So what are some things you can say to your little Sarah so that you can help yourself be more present to your real child? What are some things you can say? So let me be your voice. I'm not really Shefali, I'm just your voice, okay? Okay, so imagine you're at the park next time. Your child is having a huge tantrum. There are all these mothers looking at you, or you think they're looking at you. Now you're going to project that they're thinking things about you. So I'm going to be that voice that's projecting, okay? And let's see how you can soothe yourself in real time. Sarah, do you see? You're such a bad mother. Do you see? You're making such a ruckus. You can't even control your child. You have no control over anything. You're really not so good, are you? So what can you say to Sarah in the moment when this voice shows up?
You're safe. It's okay. You're safe. She's what matters. Nina is what matters.
Okay, but I want you to talk to the voice. I want you to tell me something. Tell the voice something. Very good. So, first thing is, I'm safe, I'm present. My child is what matters. But the voice is still unrelenting in all of us. So I'm teaching you and everyone listening, you have to learn to talk to the voice. So let me do it again, okay? Do you see how incompetent you are, Sarah? Do you see how useless you are? You're letting your child just have no control? Do you have no control, Sarah? Now, what would you say to the voice?
Think what you want. I'm going to do my own thing. I'll worry about me and my kid.
Okay, very good. Very good. Now, another thing you could tell the voice is, hey, voice, I know that you are from the past. Let's say that to me.
I know that you're from the past.
No, Sarah, I'm not from the past. I am what every mother here is thinking about you right now. Go ahead.
You're not real. You're from the past.
Very good. Very good. What do you mean I'm not real? I'm a voice in your head. Where did I come from?
From my past.
And so, what are you going to do about it? I live in your head. I live in your thoughts. What are you going to do about me? I'm going to show up every day.
I'll keep moving forward. I won't focus on the past anymore.
So, when I show up, are you going to be able to tell me something? Because so far, you've never told me anything. I've just been able to run amok in your mind.
Well, that doesn't keep going today. It ends today. I'm going to keep going, keep trying. And I'll keep pushing back.
I just want to tell you, as the voice in your head, and I've seen that I can be a voice in everyone's head, the secret to dealing with me is to make me realize that you are more powerful than me. People don't realize if they could just tell me to shut up and that they're in control. You see, I came into your mind because I was trying to protect you from disapproval from your parents. But if you tell me that you don't care about disapproval anymore and I don't need to show up, then I'll just run away. I'll just fade away. If you tell me you got it, if you tell me you're in charge, if you tell me you're powerful, me as your voice, I'm going to fade away. But I need to make sure that you understand that you can have power over me. See, right now, I think I have power over you. That's why I keep showing up every day.
Yeah, you don't need to protect me anymore.
Are you sure you're going to be in control?
Yes.
Are you sure you realize that you have power in your life now?
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm coming back to me, to Shefali. So let me ask you, Sarah, this fear of disapproval, are you able to realize it has nothing to do with public places? This voice is always in you, even when you look in the mirror, but it becomes louder in public places. That's all. So it has nothing to do with other people. It's living in you. And this part of you is alive because it protected you. It kept you to shut up in childhood so that you could avoid the pain. But now, if you're ready to deal with the real issues, then this voice will quieten down. Actually, you don't need this voice anymore. It also wants to go away from your adult self, but you've been keeping it by not realizing it's a voice from the past. So I want everyone listening to learn from Sarah's story, because when our voices from the past show up in the present, we think it's the present. We think it's the other mothers at the park. We think it's our partner. We think it's our real child, but it's just the voices from our past. So if we can begin to identify, oh, that's a voice from my past, and I'm not going to allow it to destroy my present, now you're changing your entire inner reality, and your outer reality is going to look completely different, Sarah.
Yeah.
So what's the one takeaway you're going to start working on?
I'll check in with myself and see when it's the voice. When is that voice coming into play? Not me, and not the outside world, but actually the voice that's controlling how I feel, the reactions within me.
Beautiful. So the first thing is awareness. Whenever you feel your jaws clench or you're getting scared, anxiety means the voice is there. Just take it. If you're anxious, means your voice is there. Okay? So number one is awareness. What's number two? What's the next thing you can take away?
Stand up to the voice, let the voice know that I'm okay. I'm moving on.
I'm safe right now, you said. Okay, so keep chanting, I'm safe right now. And then number three, by identifying, hey, voice, I hear you. You're trying to protect me. You're from my past. I don't need you right now. You can take a little back seat. I'm in the present moment. I got this and I can deal with my child. When you begin to realize, you know what? I can deal with her big feelings. She's okay to have big feelings. She's not the problem. The problem is actually my sensitive wild child from my past that was ignored. You're the sensitive wild child that was ignored, you see? Not your real child. You are capable, Sarah.
Yes.
So it's this inner dialogue that we need to start having. And this inner dialogue is the key to self-transformation.
This is exactly what I need. I know what my problem is. It's just trying to overcome the problem.
Now, if you had gone to someone else, perhaps they would have said to you, oh, don't worry, Sarah. Oh, just stop worrying. But that's not going to help you. So what I've given you is a technique to deal with the worry. It's not to just tell you not to worry. No, that's not going to help you. You know, you're in your 30s, you've been worrying.
Yeah.
Now I'm teaching you how to deal with that voice. So that is the key.
Yes. Yes, I'll be practicing this. Already I can feel myself, on the edge. Right now I feel like a little nervous. I can feel myself telling, even recognizing it's the voice telling me, wanting me to worry, wanting me to protect myself. But yeah, I can already recognizing it, seeing it as something that's trying to protect you, but realizing it's only holding you back,
I love it. I love it. And the last thing I'm going to say before I let you go, and for everyone listening, because we all have the voice, create a journal called The Voice and put that voice in there. Whenever that voice shows up, go and write what that voice is saying. And then put another journal, The Authentic Sarah. But that Sarah will show up a little later. First, we have to put the voice in its right place as the voice from the past. And then you'll begin to create the space and distance in the present moment. So, Sarah, thank you so much for sharing. Now, one last thing, you're going to keep having the voice after this interview, right? The voice is going to keep coming back. Why did you say that to Dr. Shefali? You should have said that. Recognize, oh, here's the voice. Here's the voice, okay? And when this interview airs, you're going to have the voice even louder. Look how you're looking. Look what you said. That's the voice, okay? It doesn't leave us till we learn to recognize it, to tame it. You have to name it to tame it, okay?
Yeah. I do have one question.
Yes.
Different journals. As for the voice, do we write down what I hear the voice tell me?
Yes, verbatim. Verbatim.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Sarah, you're bad. Sarah, you're not good enough.
And then authentic self. That comes later. If I was going to differentiate the voice from me, then I can start writing down the things that I actually
Yes, I'm okay. I'm safe. I can make mistakes, but I'm okay. I forgive myself. I have compassion. You see, you are becoming the adult self in you as you begin to reclaim your present moment.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for sharing.
You have a great day, Dr. Shefali.
Thank you. Thank you. Sarah's story so resonates with me, and I'm sure it does with you as well, because so many of us, parents especially, get plagued by the voices from our past, these inner critical voices that put us down and bear heavy within us. It is only when we begin to recognize that these voices are not coming from our present reality will we be able to tame them and truly enter the present moment as our children need us. Coming up next is a good one, a mother who says that other people's opinions about her daughter drive her crazy. Joining me now is Rachel, a mom of a 17-year-old daughter. Now, her main conflict isn't with her daughter, it's with other parents and their opinions of her daughter. Hi, Rachel, tell me what's going on.
Hi, it's very nice to meet you. So, I have been doing the work of conscious parenting for the past 7 years, and it has made a wonderful transformation in my life with me and my family. And one of the things that I'm still mainly struggling on is when other parents are triggered by what I speak about in my life, and what comes up for them is really hard for me. Mainly because I question myself and the work that I'm doing. Like, is what I'm thinking or doing okay because of seeing how someone else reacts to what I'm saying? For example, when my daughter calls me home from school needing to come home, or she's having a stressful moment, other parents will be like, she's taking advantage. She's just trying to get out of school, when I personally know there's more going on. And I just then freeze, like, am I doing the right thing? And it really brings up a lot of anxiety for me, just mainly because of what I question. I would love help on unpacking that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for being so vulnerable, so honest. And you've already identified the problem. You've identified that when you hear other people's opinions about how you are, your ways in the world, and they clash, it creates a complete freeze response in you, a panic, because you get really nervous and you begin to doubt yourself.
Yes.
So, what you're saying, if I can break it down, is that their voices become more important and louder than your inner voice. Safe to say?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so you say in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, you feel X. You feel like this should happen in this way. Let's just call it X. And in 15 minutes, if somebody you like or value or just anyone tells you no, it's ABC. Within 20 minutes of that, you will begin to doubt your X and you will begin to wonder if you should do ABC. And then you're in conflict because you wanted to do X, but now you're thinking you should do ABC. Is that fair to say?
Oh, absolutely. That so rings true.
Okay, so that's level one, but I think there are other levels. Then you feel a certain way about the conflict. Can you go a little deeper? So now you're in conflict. You're thinking, oh, I should do ABC. But then another part of you says X. So what are you feeling?
So when someone does something like that, especially when I feel like it's a personal attack on my daughter, my first reaction is to defend her.
Yes.
To explain why I'm doing what I'm doing or what she's doing.
Yes.
And then I feel like I'm telling them more information than it's necessary. And then I feel angry or hurt or just, I don't want to say out of control, but in a way I feel like my feelings feel out of control.
Yes.
And then I ruminate or just overthink it and then end up possibly even not unknowingly, but try my best not take it out on my daughter, but bring it to her table because I don't want it to be her problem.
But you unknowingly bring it to her table.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
And I try so hard not to, but I know that, I think about it afterwards and then feel really bad as well.
Yeah. What you're describing is such a common phenomenon. It's about us women, especially mothers, especially not trusting ourselves. Have you had a difficult time trusting yourself and giving yourself inner power in other areas of your life?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I know that after I started conscious parenting work 7 years ago, like I've gotten so much better over the years. But in this particular realm with other adults, especially ones that I almost admire, like parent figures to me, it really, that's a part of my life I'm still definitely struggling with is the trying to get validation from myself versus from people on the outside of
You know your issues. So in those moments when they tell you you should do ABC, but you want to do X, instead of saying, right, an empowered self would say, I understand you want me to do ABC. I want to do X. Let's just agree to disagree. That would be just a quote unquote healthy response. But the reason why you're having this cyclone, this tsunami of a response is because you're not just listening to an opinion. For you, it's a matter of, am I good enough? Do you validate my existence? Like you're going deep, right? They're just giving you an opinion. But for you, it's like your whole self-worth.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so afraid of what people think of me.
Right. You want to be loved. So for you, it's not a matter of opinion. For you, it's a matter of, do you approve of me? Am I good enough? So no wonder you're defending. You're not defending your opinion, my love. You're defending your right to exist. No wonder you're falling apart. So they may say something like, we don't think your daughter should get a license right now, or we think your daughter should have gotten a license by now, whatever. You're not able to say, oh, that's interesting you said that. I'll work on it, or I'll think about it. For you, it's like, oh, are you saying I'm not a good mother? Are you saying I'm not a good person? Are you saying I'm not good enough? Do you see where you go?
Absolutely.
You go to like level 55 when it should just be level 1.
Another part that I struggle with this, not only just of how people think of me, but how people think of my daughter. If I think that they have any form of negative opinion on how she is, how she lives her life, I just feel angry and want to defend her so bad.
Yes.
Like I don't want her to deal with that thought of, do people like me?
Yes, because for you, it has been such an issue. So I'm just going to take us quickly to the past. In your own childhood, did you feel seen and validated for who it is you were?
Oh, no. I felt like I had to put a mask on and definitely identify with the good girl people pleaser. My parents always told me while growing up, you're so easy. We don't have to worry about you, that you just, do what you need to do. And I still even hear today, oh, like you're my favorite, or you're just, I'm so proud of you. But yet it just doesn't feel right because they don't get to see all of me.
Exactly. So you have just been playing to the crowd, right? So anytime an opinion comes where you don't want to play to the crowd, there is tremendous conflict between your good girl conditioning and your authentic woman self. So that's what the fight is. So I want you to understand. You're not defending an opinion against an opinion. You're actually trying to defend the authentic self inside you versus your own good girl conditioning. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. Wow, that was wonderful.
So explain back to me what you heard and why you're saying that.
I just want to be seen so much. And yet in a way, I feel sometimes when there's an attack that I'm still not seen, that I'm still, I don't know, that like I'm trying to seek that validation. And yet I just simply want to be seen for me.
Right. So I want to be seen for me is your authentic self. I want to be seen as the good girl is your conditioned self.
Yes.
So now these two live inside you and they're still in conflict, okay? So now level 2 of understanding is the person from the outside comes and says, I don't think you should, whatever. I don't think, something disapproving of, and they're just giving their opinion. The good girl part in you shatters. And the good girl part in you says, oh my goodness, they don't think I'm a good girl. So the good girl begins to defend herself, but then the authentic self in you is now fighting and is upset with the good girl about to give in, right? So then the authentic self begins to defend itself, going, but I think it should be this. So now you're having a conflict, but it's coming from this inner conflict. You're making it about you and somebody on the outside, but it's really the good girl in you and the authentic self in you are having a battle.
Wow, I've never seen it that way before. Thank you so much. I've always thought of it as me in conflict with the person on the outside that I'm speaking with. I've never thought of it before as the conflict within the two parts of me. And that is just mind-blowing.
Okay, so let's practice a second, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to be the person on the outside, okay?
Okay.
And you're going to tell me what shows up in the good girl and the authentic. We're going to identify the different voices, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to say, you know what? Why are you wearing burgundy? And I just don't like the color of your hair. And what's with those closets behind? I mean, what is that wood? I mean, how does your daughter even like thrive? I mean, I'm sure your daughter is miserable. Okay, so I'm going all out hard, okay? I'm going all out. I'm attacking every place of you. Okay, so now what shows up inside? Let's identify. So what's the first thing that shows up inside?
Oh, gosh. So the first thing is, wow, why do they really not like me? Why do they not like the clothes that I'm wearing? Wow, that felt so personal with the attack towards my daughter.
I love it. You're amazing. Okay, so this is the voice of the
people pleaser inside of me.
Beautiful. So now the voice on the outside has said something you don't like, right? Level one. So you have to know that's your trigger. Trigger and your conditioning shows up. Why don't they like me? They don't like me. Now, I never once said I don't like you, right?
True.
Okay, so just pay attention. So because I disagreed with the color of your thing or whatever, I was being obnoxious. I'm a rude person. But none of that is being registered. You're not saying she's a rude person. You're not saying she's inappropriate. You're not saying she's out of line. You're not saying she's disrespectful. All you're saying, because your good girl is activated, is why doesn't this horrible person like me? Why doesn't this nasty person love me? You see how strong your good girl conditioning is? You're not even realizing that this person is obnoxious. Okay, so now good girl is activated. Okay, now next, what do you do next and what do you feel and how do you defend?
So I would, of course, say I absolutely love this shirt. I'm sorry that you do not. The closets behind me, thankfully, they serve function, and I hope that my daughter sees me for who I am.
Beautiful. So this sounds authentic. This sounds like your
Yes.
authentic voice coming. But the fact that it's defending means it's not yet in power. It's still defending for validation.
Yes.
So imagine you were a really authentic, badass warrior. What would that voice say? Now, I'm going to repeat the obnoxious statements. Let's see if you can activate your authentic self, okay?
Okay, I will try.
Okay, let's try. Oh my goodness, what an awful blouse you are wearing. I mean, really, really, did you have to wear this? And look at the color of those closets. How does your daughter even feel happy in this place?
I love my shirt and will continue to wear it. My closet served the purpose I need it to serve. I love my daughter immensely and she loves me.
Okay, beautiful. So that sounds more authentic. So now I'm going to play the voice of your little girl inside you. Let me see if you can talk to her.
Okay.
I feel like they don't like me. Oh my God, should I go change my shirt? Oh my God, I feel so bad. I'm like ruined this interview now and I don't know what to do. Maybe I should buy new closets.
So to talk to my inner child, I would love to tell her, honey, it's okay. You are wonderful for who you are. Your house is wonderful for what it is. And all is well. Please just breathe.
There you go. Now, when you're in this voice, talking to that little girl, I, as that little girl's voice, felt calm, felt soothed. I felt like mommy was home. There was an adult and I didn't have to panic.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Thank you.
So now in this voice, does this adult self that you've just touched on, does this adult self even need to bother about the person on the outside?
No, not at all. They should just a lovely, healthy boundary of accepting what I feel for myself.
Yes. So now let's practice one more time. I'm going to be obnoxious. You're going to be in your authentic self. And I don't want to hear any explanation of your choice. So find another way to respond to me. I don't want the authentic self never has to defend beyond a point. The authentic self never has to make excuses. The authentic self actually can check the other person without needing to defend itself. So let's try to check this other person. Let's practice it. It may not happen organically, so I'll help you. Okay. So I'm going to be obnoxious and you're going to be authentic. Okay. Oh my goodness. Really? Like, really? I can't believe your daughter has just started learning to drive. I mean, she's way behind the curve. Like, is she developmentally on track? Are you sure you're a good mother?
My daughter is thriving wonderfully. She is
You're
an
still
amazing
defending.
person.
You're still defending.
Oh, I am. Oh my
Yeah, you're
gosh.
still
Wow, that is
defending.
hard.
You're trying to be authentic, but your good girl is still defending. Okay. So now, let me ask you as the authentic self, do you think that this person on the outside deserves an explanation or deserves to be told that they have a right to their own opinion? Which one do you think?
Ooh, okay. So they definitely have a right to their own opinion based upon what information they may think they have.
Or their own conditioning or their own insecurities?
Yes, very true. Very true. Thank you. This will be tough for me to unpack because I've done it for so many years. This will be really hard.
Okay, so let's practice, okay?
Okay.
Practice saying this one line. They have a right to their own opinion. So you can say, you have a right to your own opinion. You're coming from your own conditioning. I understand. Thank you for that opinion, but I don't agree. Let's practice, okay?
Okay.
Practicing something like that when I say it one more time, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You know what? I just think your daughter should have gotten a license way back. I mean, what's going on? Like, is she just starting to drive? Like, what's with your daughter? I mean, I don't get it.
You are entitled to your opinion. I appreciate your input, and I don't agree with you.
Whoa, how did that feel?
That felt amazing, actually. I feel like it's still going to be hard, but I love having this new tool to practice with.
Okay, so the real conflict is not with the person outside. The real conflict is between your conditioned good girl self and your desire to be authentic. So if you can learn to calm and tame your inner good girl, the outside person will have no power.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh. Thank you so very much.
So we're going to practice. It's not going to happen tomorrow.
Oh gosh, no. Yeah, it'll take a lot of practice, but I can promise you that I most certainly will.
Thank you so much. You've been an awesome guest. Thank you for being vulnerable and for practicing for all of us how we can all enter our authentic self.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And it was an honor to meet you today.
As we saw with this mother, it's so true for all of us. We often get plagued by the anxiety of what other people will think of us. We all crave approval from others in our lives, but yet we don't realize that the one we need to approve of the most is ourselves. We need to be our greatest approvers and validators. And as long as we keep seeking, thirsty for this validation on the outside, we will actually diminish our sense of inner empowerment, our sense of clarity, our sense of worth. So each one of us needs to do this work that I just mentioned to this mother. We each need to understand that it is ultimately our own approval of ourself that is going to liberate us the most. You know, most of us were raised with this conditioning that we needed to seek approval and validation and praise from the outside. I write about it in my book, A Radical Awakening. I say, in order to obtain the drugs, I call it a drug of approval, validation, and praise, we as young children learned early to shapeshift and morph to whomever the other person on the outside wished us to be, just to gain their approval, for these crumbs of worth, for these crumbs of validation. And most of us, especially women, especially mothers, were trained early to be these good girls. But what happened is that in our desperate desire to be validated from the outside, we divorced our own inner authenticity, our own inner power. I write in my book, A Radical Awakening, there is a huge difference between being authentic and being good. We get so wrapped up around being good that we completely forsake authenticity and our own inner alignment. It is only when we begin to see how this attachment to being seen as good keeps us divorced from our inner knowing, can our situation and our parenting change. So for all us good girls and good boys out there, we need to realize that the only person whose approval matters is ourselves. If you learned something from this episode, make sure you share it with all your good girl and good boy friends out there so that we can all change our inner conditioning and set ourselves free. I will see you on the next episode of Parenting and You with me, Dr. Shefali. Parenting and You with Dr. Shefali is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional medical, psychological, psychotherapeutic, coaching, healthcare, or other qualified professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment.